Well, good evening, good morning, hello. My name is Christine McDowell, and this is my lovely friend Jamie, who is here to share his views and thoughts on intimacy. Since you always hear a woman's perspective, and Jamie was brave enough to say, let's be doing this.
Yeah, it had been, thanks for having me. It had been on my radar for a while, and it was something I was going to make a video about myself, but just hadn't got around to it yet. And then we were talking, and then it came up, and it's like, well, let's do it.
Yeah, cool. So, so what, Jamie? What is it you feel, or what do you feel your perspectives are with regards to intimacy? How is it? I guess there's a big question: is
It is.
how is it different from, say, 2 years ago, or even a year ago for you? Um,
Even a couple of months ago, it's
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's to me it really sunk in to me about 2 3 months ago too. Interesting.
yeah.
Yes. Go
So for
ahead.
me, I mean, it's never just been sex for me. I've always needed that emotional connection. Otherwise, it's not satisfying and fulfilling. But now I've got to the point that I've realized that everything is energy and there's always an energy transference. So I kind of have to start there, not at the
Yeah,
later
yeah, no,
part.
go, yeah, go
So,
ahead.
so for me, I realized that everything is energy. And because we're energetic beings, basically, when we connect with people, whether that's physically or not, just being in each other's energy is you have an effect on each other. So, you and I are just on a phone call, let alone in person next to each other, there's always an energy transfer. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter whether you can see it and feel it, but there always is because, I mean, you just got to be in a room and you can feel the energy and you either feel good or bad.
right.
So when it comes to intimacy, like even just sitting on the couch or laying in bed next to someone is a form of intimacy for me because you're in each other's heart space, so you're really picking up on each other's frequency and having an effect. So you kind of have to start there and think, well, whatever emotional state and feeling I'm having at the moment, if you go and then be intimate with a partner, you're transferring whatever you've got going on at the moment. So if you're there really, in a really bad emotional way, then you're going to
Yeah.
transfer some of that to your partner or whoever you're being intimate with. So you really need to be mindful of where you're at. And I've got to the point now that before anything will even happen, we'll have a discussion and say, is there anything on your mind? clear
Let's clear
clear
the
the
decks.
air. Yeah, like clear the slate clean so that you're starting with nothing unsaid, and that way it's a whole nother level now. So
Well, I feel that, and I never really thought of that until it was mentioned to me a couple of months ago, where this transference, where I don't think people consciously are aware of how their energy can affect another, and it kind of like can stick to you.
yes,
So
which is
someone had,
why,
yeah, go
sorry,
ahead.
which is for me the last few months, like I don't watch anything. I don't watch TV. I used to watch so much YouTube, it wasn't funny, but now I watch very little YouTube. I'm very much just centered in my own world and focusing on myself so that I'm not absorbing anything from anywhere else. And it's made a massive difference.
So let me ask you something. What would how would you apply intimacy to yourself?
By yourself or with a partner?
No, I guess because I think there's so many different layers to intimacy.
There is.
So I'm thinking, for myself, the intimacy that I have for myself, the deeper connection I have to my heart is so different today.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't, and I guess the reason why I'm saying this is because people, I think, because the dictionary says this is what it is, but we
Yeah.
are our own dictionary. And I
Yes.
think
So
people, go ahead.
I know what you're putting out now. It's not a sexual thing at all.
Yeah.
It's for me, intimacy is connecting with the body and being very present in the body and feeling feelings in the body. And most people actually would be surprised that when you start to really get inside the body, it is actually quite erotic feeling. Like even just showering and things. I remember making a post a while ago that, you know, even something as mundane, seemingly mundane as showering can be such a expansive thing, because you get in there and you really feel the water on the skin and the temperature and just the way you wash yourself, and really feeling every part of the body and actually connecting with the body. Most people sort of floating around half out their body and not even aware of it, that when you come into the body, just even something as simple as touching your arm, like it, you really feel the body, and the body has so much sensation that we're not even, I mean, you know, we're all still learning about the body, so, and still
No,
feeling
that's
the body, so there's, it's still evolving what we're actually, you know,
that's
experiencing.
awesome.
And
That's such a lovely share there. It's that, you know, it again, it's moving us into more of a conscious awareness,
it
and
is.
not just to look at the body as saying, oh well, it's just the body. But you're so right, because, you know, even myself, you know, when I do that, when I touch my skin, there is a sensation there, but now it's like, oh my gosh, maybe I should be really looking at that sensation and acknowledging it. So that's, thank you
Yes.
for that share. That's
And
lovely.
like we should be feeling the energetic buzz through our whole body. If we're not feeling it in a spot, we've got a blockage, which is generally related to
Yeah.
an emotional blockage, or, you know, something going on with the body, which is generally diet and emotionally related. But we should feel this constant buzz in the body. The whole body should just be
Yeah.
like, it's almost like a low hum buzz, and that's your energy body is activated, and you're actually in the body.
Well, it's incredible because we're speaking, and now I'm putting my awareness, because I speak to my body all the time. But now my body's hearing body, and my body's going, oh, you're
It's getting
speaking
lit
to
up.
me. Yeah, totally. It's just like I can just feel everything inside of me just go poof, you know? So it's,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's,
And I mean, if anyone's struggling, like even just, you know, set the intention, get a bottle of water and say, this is going to clear my energy body when I drink this. It's going to, you know, clear my aura, all of that. Everything's intention. So you don't have to go and do all of these long-winded, fancy energy clearings and stuff. You can literally set the intention and go,
oh,
done.
that's too easy, Jamie. Come on. I'd rather go pay someone $300 to show me how to do that.
You don't need to. Like, it is, everything is a thought. Like, our thoughts are our reality. So for me, I'm like, how simple can I make it? Right. I mean, I don't even need the water. I can just go done. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But again, it's a conscious awareness. It's consciously being aware of what you say and do. I mean, I grew up where I was brutal with my body, even speaking to it.
oh
You
yeah.
know, it's and now it's just every time I acknowledge my body, I do. It just lights up like a Christmas tree.
And it's amazing the impact. Like, you look back after a while and you go, wow, I treated it like absolute garbage. And it
Yeah,
it showed, like it was acting like it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
like just quickly, I mean, I can't even remember when it was, but it was somewhere recently. I broke my hand, and
All right.
I set the intention, and I was like, they were telling me the bone I broke was going to take 12 weeks to 12 months to heal. And I'm like, no, it's not. Give me a week. 4 days and the bone was healed. Just last weekend, I was out hanging off the back of a chainsaw for 10 hours. Like, you're not going to do that with a half broken hand. And yeah, that was only, I think maybe a month ago I broke it.
Yeah, I think it's about a month ago. Yeah.
So,
I mean, that alone is so powerful, because I find that so many people, and you know, they run to a doctor when something is not working in their body, and that is, you know, maybe there is something medically wrong, but when you become connected to your body, you hear it, and it
mm,
will tell you what it is, because whatever's showing up is there to be healed.
yes. And for me, like, it was funny because for me, the thought didn't even cross my mind about going to the hospital, doctors, nothing. It wasn't until someone said, oh, maybe you should just go get a scan, just, you know, to show people how fast you can heal. And I'm like, yeah, maybe. And that was literally the only reason I went and got a scan, was just to show people, like, yeah, I broke my hand.
Yeah,
And then, like, I had no use for them.
yeah.
So,
No, it is.
like, they were talking about a plaster cast. I'm like, no, give me something removable. It's coming off in days. Like, this isn't staying on.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So intimacy, then, when you move it from yourself to another person, um, what do you feel is, especially to, well, I guess this is a silly question, because I think that if you're coming from your heart space, the person that you will be attracting to you is going to be also in your heart space. But then again, maybe not, because everything is a reflection to teach us what it is we need to learn within ourselves. So I just talk myself in and out of that one.
You did.
Yeah, I did that well. Um, so basically, with yourself, in any type of relationship, what is different with regards to intimacy today versus 4 months, 5 months ago?
Um, it's just completely different. It's one of those things that's getting harder and harder to put into words, like everything. But
Right.
it's being completely wide open in the heart space and in the moment. It is probably the biggest impact, because the more conscious of what we're actually doing, the more we can focus on the sensations of the body. And like, even though you're there with another person, it's almost sensory overload just by your own part, let alone the energy transfer between the two. So does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. It does make sense. I was thinking of something based on what you just said. Oh my gosh, I just lost that thread. It's gone.
It'll come back up.
I'm sure it will. It had to do with relationships, and oh, right. You talk about your heart space and opening up your heart space, and it's very possible there are people out there that don't quite understand that lingo. So could you, in a nutshell, kind of, what is the difference
From
between being not in your heart to versus being in your heart, and how do you open up your heart?
for me, my perspective would be loving and appreciating yourself and understanding everything has happened for me, not to me. Um, Picking up the lessons and just really appreciating every moment for what it is, instead of going, oh, there's this part of my life that I hate and blah, 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 all of this stuff. It's really appreciating just everything for what it is. And then it's all happening like we wrote the script for ourselves. So we, you know, we signed up for all of it. We're not experiencing anything that we didn't sign up for. So when you get to that level of understanding, then you can really appreciate and have that unconditional love for your own situation, and then everything else around you, because it all starts with self always.
Right. So, what would you say to a couple who are just, um, maybe slowly waking up and realizing that their relationship needs to shift, but not necessarily to leave each other? What would you what would you suggest to help them in this new energy, this new
Mm,
timeline that we're on?
my advice would be, whatever issues you're having, voice them. Doesn't matter whether you think, if we have this conversation, something's going to end, or I might scare them away, or any of those fears and doubts and stuff. You need to just be unapologetically authentic and yourself and speak
Yeah.
your truth, because if you're not, that's what's creating the blockages in people, in the body, by not speaking their truth. And also, if you're with someone that you should be because you're the right energetic match and on your highest timeline, they're going to accept whatever you are as you are, because that's just the way it is. You can't scare your perfect mirror away, because they're your perfect mirror. Whereas if you're on a lower timeline, then if you speak your truth and they run away, it's like, well, that's just going to open the door for a higher timeline to open up when you've gone deeper
Right.
into yourself. So
Yeah. So
not having, probably not being attached to any outcome, just speaking your truth and being completely open and honest, and not worried about any outcome, just being present and letting everything out and seeing where the chips fall.
yeah, and that is basically what intimacy is about.
Yeah.
Um, for me, anyway, it's to be I was working with a client the other day, and I said, you have to be brutally honest with yourself,
You do.
because if you're not honest with you, then who will be? You know,
Exactly. Because
you
if
know,
you're not being honest to yourself, then no one's going to mirror that back to you. They're not going to go, "Oh, I'm going to be completely open with you." So
right.
until you do it to yourself.
And that is all. It's just, if I go back to what the Webster Dictionary, I should look it up. It's probably really a silly definition. But it's like when I ask people something, I say, "So, what does that word mean to you?" And so many people, um, they kind of don't know what to say, because it's like, okay, let's go and see what the dictionary has to say. Well, what if the dictionary was wrong?
Well, the inverted matrix dictionary is always wrong. There's always an
Yes.
aspect of truth in it, but not the whole truth.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just it's so interesting, and it's almost exciting. Well, almost, it is exciting
It is
because it is
seriously exciting.
so different that you'll miss it if you're not consciously living in the moment. You'll lose it. You'll just go,
Yes.
you know. Yeah, so
Yes.
it's such a powerful place, and I think intimacy, the deeper you have that you're intimate with yourself and with another person, it brings you into a different realm. It's just
That's where I was going to go next. That's
yeah,
really funny. Um,
go.
and Vanessa commented on their intimacy is into me see, and that is so very true.
Oh, lovely, Vanessa.
And yeah, that was where I was sort of gearing up to go to, that when you get to that level of self-awareness and connected with the body and connecting so purely with a partner, it is like nothing else exists in that moment. It's like you're in this vortex where it's like you're in your own galaxy, your own universe, and nothing else is there but that moment. And it's just, yeah, words can't describe it.
Oh, gee, and it's Philip. Oh my God, that's too funny. Oh my gosh. Maybe I should have picked up the phone and we have a three-way conversation.
That would have been interesting.
So, so intimacy then, oh, I see, I just lost my thread again. It's coming back. Um,
Different galaxy dimension into the body.
yeah. No, because you were speaking about how everything has changed, and the how the dynamics of intimacy has shifted tremendously. Um, and you also talked about the sensitivity too, the sensitivity of other people's energies, because that too is a form of intimacy.
It is.
It's such a vast word. And I think people need to begin to explore within themselves what intimacy means to them,
Mm.
and where they want it to go in a relationship with themselves.
Yes.
Oh, that was the question. So you have intimacy on a physical level,
Hmm.
and you have intimacy on a different plane,
Yeah.
energetic level.
Hmm.
So since I haven't had a physical intimacy relationship, it's kind of like out of my awareness.
Hmm.
But on a energetic level, yes.
Yeah.
So what would be, how would you be able to explain those two, the differences between the two? Or
Um,
is that a tough question?
it's an easy question, but it's hard to put into words.
Okay.
So you've got the energetic, like Harris Gamos type energy, which is what we're both aware of,
Yes.
which is very much a higher sensory level, which obviously involves the body as well. just trying to think how to explain this.
It probably involves the body more and the sensory system of the body,
Yes,
and it
it's
requires a
yeah,
lot of
it is.
trust.
It's more, yeah, it's more on the sensory level than the body, but you're just getting the feedback through the body
Right.
with that side. But then when you've got the physical, it's kind of reversed but the same. If you're
Oh, I see where you're going.
Yeah, it's like you're starting with the physical, but then you're bringing into the
Into the
energetic body. So it's
yes.
both, I guess.
Yeah, I'm guessing basically
And
that
there is one caveat, that is provided that you're both being open.
yes, yes. Because I find that what's happening with people, even the people that I do work with, that there is this fear of sharing their intimacy, which is speaking their truth.
Yes.
And I think a lot of that is based on, well, if I said what I've said, then that person may not like what I have to say, and they could be gone. And
And a
as
lot of
you,
people have an issue with saying something and then changing their mind, but then speaking the change. It's
yeah,
like you could be able to just speak whatever your truth is in that moment. It doesn't matter what your truth was 10 minutes ago. You just speak your
right,
truth now.
yeah. Yeah, I can hear people saying, "Yeah, but you never told me this before." Well, maybe because I just didn't feel strong enough or the courage to say what I wanted to say.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just feel that intimacy is so vital to our existence today. And I just wish there was a way. It is easy. It seems that people are looking for things to be more complicated.
I think the problem is they're always often looking external instead of looking internal because it all starts internally. They're looking for that external for something they're
Gratification.
lacking in themselves, and like,
Right.
using sex as instant gratification and,
Yeah.
trying to get love from someone else instead of
Right.
giving it to themselves first, and then that's going to bring in an even higher love. So,
So there's one thing I wanted to talk about with you, or I just haven't. I'm going to do, I think, my own little video on it. But I wanted to talk about orgasms
yep.
or soulgasms or
Hmm.
whatever they are called. And I feel that, especially women, or maybe men too. Well, I'm not a man, so I can't answer that. Oh, drats. I feel that women, for however we've been raised and told, that to give up oneself pleasure is just it's just not acceptable. And I think that it's if you move into the idea of how energetic we are, and that a soulgasm is helping that energy that sits in the body to be released, which helps them move themselves up to a higher level of knowing and being within themselves. Again, that's you being intimate with yourself, and it's more about giving yourself permission to go there.
Hmm.
So I don't know how men look at that, or how you feel about that, or um,
I
so
can't speak for men. I can only speak for myself.
yeah, totally. Sorry,
But
you
um,
are a male.
but for me, in my perspective, the reason that they put stuff like that out there in the inverted matrix is to keep people detached from the body. Because when you're doing things like that, you're actually connecting with the body, being self-aware of the body, and that's how
That's
you become more
awesome.
of yourself. So
I know. Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with it. Once again, everything is intention. So if you're
Yeah.
having the intention, it's one of the most powerful times to be creating. I can't even call it manifesting anymore. It used to be manifesting, but now it's creating. That when you're in that state, and that heightened state of connectedness to your body, your soul, all of that all connected at once, is when you can really create the most, because you're really, you know,
In the
you're
flow.
raising your vibration so high
Yeah.
in the moment. It's just one tool. You can do it the same at any time. It's just as a starting point, that's a really good time.
Yeah. No, that's well said. I never would have looked at it that way, but no, for
Mm.
sure. Um, yeah, and it's an expression that's within us that I think that if people began to discover themselves more on an individual basis of intimacy, it would open up a lot of people more to their hearts.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and as you say, it brings their energy up into a place of being more creative and, yeah, being more honest and open. Yeah,
Mm. And once again, it sort of comes full circle back to the start that, even just something touching your arm or your leg, like, is very, sensory arousing.
yeah,
And there's nothing wrong with it. You could sit there being like really turned on energetically without the physical signs, but then sometimes you do have the physical signs. So, like, I mean, with Harris Gamos, I've had complete full body soulgasms and not had an erection, but it was one of the most intense experiences
yeah,
that I've had in that sense by myself, where it was just a emerging.
right. Yeah. No, it's true. It certainly is a different level to it all. Um, and I know myself, um, soulgasms have. It's almost like I had to give myself the permission to go there,
Yes.
and I think that's probably would help a lot of people if they would just allow themselves to enjoy themselves. And
Mm.
I always wondered, um, how people even go through the process of lovemaking if they don't even know their own body.
I know.
It's crazy. It's like,
Because you need to know your own body so that you can then read another body, so that you can then understand what pleasures that person.
yes, exactly. But again, that's moving away from, being bashful or shy, or I don't know what to say, or it's just, because I'm going back in my mind, like, as soon as we say this, and I'm going back into my past, and going, oh yeah, I can remember that. And then I shrug it off and say, who gives a shit? I'm here to have a good time. So, but true, because it's moving outside of yourself for gratification instead of moving inside of yourself
Mm.
for honoring that within you. Yeah, yeah,
Because
that's
there's something like, it's amazing to be to the point where you're self-aware enough that you can then, like, even just energetically, what the other person likes, and because they're aware, like, even just, back to the skin touching and stuff.
yeah. But no, okay. So I'm just gonna uh, say something where the other person is aware of what it is that you want. Um, to me, I think that's going down a different path, because when you assume it's like unless you meant to, or I misunderstood you, but it's almost like doing a mind read and saying, oh, this is. But usually, what
No,
person?
I mean just by watching the body, the way the body reacts, like,
Well,
just
that's,
reading
yeah,
just
well,
reading the
that's
signs.
definitely on a higher level.
Because you can literally, like, I mean, I could walk up to someone and put my hand on
Oh, for sure.
their arm and watch their reaction change, like,
Yeah,
depending on the energy I'm transferring to that
yeah.
person.
But it was just to bring in that thought that, um, to be standing in your truth in such a way that you don't leave it for the other person to try and figure out what it is your needs are.
No, you should always be voicing verbally your needs too.
Right. And if you don't know your body intimately, you would really struggle on what your needs are
Yeah.
unless you're reading a book.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know. It's we're almost on the half hour there, Mr. Jamie. Is there anything else you want to say? And Or do you think we
Um,
pretty well covered it all?
I think we've covered the basics enough. Yeah,
Yeah,
just self-awareness really, and start with the self, and then look external, because you're only going to get mirrored to you where you're at the moment. So
right. Well,
if
this is
you're wanting more for yourself, you've got to get more
yes,
for you. Like, give yourself more first.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole new language that people need to learn how to speak. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, Jamie, thank you so much, lovely one, for joining me today.
Thank you so much for
And
having me. It's been a pleasure.
yeah, rock and roll and lots of fun. So, everyone, enjoy the replay. And if you have any comments, feel free to connect with us. We're only here to support and serve you, to help you move through this interesting new life with grace and ease. So have a good
Yes.
evening, or have a great day, or just enjoy. Bye,
Lots of
everyone.
love to everyone.
Bye.